Hey there people, how's it going? Well, I'm back here in my old hometown. When I say hometown, this is where I lived when I first came to New Zealand, here in Rolleston. And now I'm back for the first time for a few years. Just walking around the park here. How big Rolleston's got, it's unbelievable. I don't recognise the place. But the video is not about Rolleston. This video is about what's happening in New Zealand. This country, this beautiful country in the South Pacific, is being destroyed by a small group, a very select group of radical extremist elite Maori terrorisers. Now the word terrorisers, not terrorists but terrorisers, I'm using that word. I think I'll be the first to use it, because these people are terrorising New Zealanders, non-Maori New Zealanders, into silence through fear of retaliation by these elites, these terrorisers, who will brand them as racists, anti-Maori, Maori bashing, whatever, and they will lose their jobs. Is that really what we want in this country? Is that what we really want? Is that what we vote for when we vote for our political parties, mostly Labour and National? Because that's what we got, people. We've got a nation in fear of expressing their opinions because they fear losing their jobs. Terrorised into silence. The media in New Zealand have capitulated to the Maori worldview and Te Ao Maori, I think they call it. I'll use English. The Maori worldview, and they believe, well, all criticism of Maori is racist, and the media will be used to full effect to destroy people's lives. These radical Maori elite of Idi politicians, terrorisers, have infiltrated everywhere. Every government department, every institution, our workplaces, government departments and private corporations. And the HR departments are stacked full of woke leftists, self-loathing leftists, and radical Maori extremists who hunt for anyone who will go against the narrative here in New Zealand so they can make an example of them and fire them. This has been driven by a very, very small elite, very powerful, very rich, 10 billion, so well-financed group of Maori at the very top of the iwi, the tribes of New Zealand, and politicians in Parliament. To name a few: Willie Jackson, John Tamahiri, Rawiri Waititi, Debbie Packer, and many more. Of Te Pati Maori, which means the Maori Party for them outside New Zealand, which is a party based on race, and the Greens Party, and even in Parliament, calling them out for what they are, Marxist communists, because they're using their tactics to shut people down. If you call them out in Parliament, they break out into the haka, and in order to intimidate other politicians into silence. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And our Prime Minister, the incumbent, Chris Luxon, is an empty jacket, an empty suit, a dud, weak as piss, if you like. Much like John Key was a few years ago. John Key was even worse. John Key, I believe, committed treason in this country for what he did. He not even allowed, but sent the Maori party at the time to New York to sign up to the United Nations Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Maori aren't indigenous to New Zealand. They are not. It's a fact. But now they are indigenous, according to revisionist historians, far left, self-loathing wokists, and CEOs of the tops of all corporations. And you have to agree with this kind of opinion to get anywhere in your job, anywhere. And you have to succumb to it, otherwise you won't get promoted, you won't get far in your job if you don't suck this up and take it as fact. People watching this video will pile into me, slag me off. Many will agree with me because they know it's true, and it is the truth. You can't change the truth. And they'll say all kinds of nasty things, which they do. But the truth is the truth. The Maori came here from Hawaii, wherever that is. I don't even think they know where it is. In the middle of the 13th century. Now they're indigenous. Go figure. There were people here before Maori. There's no trace of them now. Well, there is traces of them, but it's something that's covered up and denied. But they were eradicated by Maori. The Waitangi Treaty was signed in 1840, February the 6th, I think it was, 1840, to stop the warring tribes of New Zealand, who were living in a perpetual state of war, infanticide, genocide, slavery and cannibalism. And the British stopped all that. The Maori have been complaining ever since. If it wasn't for the British, Maori wouldn't exist today, because the French were waiting offshore in their ships. If it wasn't for the British, the French would have come. There would have been no treaty. There probably would have been no such thing as Maori today. Can't say that though. There are some very brave souls here in New Zealand who are sticking their names above, the faces and names above the parapet, namely the very top at a minute, Julian Batchelor, Terry O'Pines, the Anglo-Saxon, he's a new one, Whangarei Tim, I'll say Whangarei, not Whangarei. No one knows who he is because he very cleverly disguises his name, even his voice, but he gets his point across, he or she, whatever it is. And myself, a few others. But this, what's happening here, in New Zealand, how people are being terrorised into silence. If you're accused and branded by these Maori politicians as a racist, white supremacist, the media will come after you, orders from them, and they will destroy your lives. Anyone's life. And they have that power. They have that power. Being branded a white supremacist by elite Maori politicians, Willie Jackson, JT, Debbie Packer, Raweri Half Wheaty Waititi. It's worse than being branded a rapist or a murderer. Imagine that power, having that power. Nothing gets done. Nothing. Politicians are weak as piss in Parliament. They spend most of their time hiding under the desk, hoping it's all going to go away, but it's getting worse, people. It's getting worse. These people are ripping off the system, setting up corporations, companies, to bleed the coffers of this government, i.e. the taxpayer, dry in the hundreds of millions. I'm talking about leading politicians, setting up corporations to get hundreds of millions off the government and calling them charities. They don't even have to pay any tax. EVs up and down this country get hundreds and hundreds of millions, and now they're worth billions, 10 billion. All their companies, all their companies they create are all tax exempt. How is this fair? And the government keep giving, because they're terrified of being called racist. I mean, honestly, being called racist and Maori extremist terrorisers breaking out into a haka in Parliament, and radical Maori terrorisers protesting, what they call hikois here, in the streets. So to save all that, they hand over hundreds of millions to keep them quiet. And these very select people, the ones I've mentioned, get very, very rich, plus EB leaders get very, very rich. I wasn't going to make this video. I haven't made a video for a while. And talking about this is dangerous talk. It's dangerous talk. They even have a hold on the police, the judicial system, everything. So making this video could prompt a visit from the police to shut me down. Any of us down at any time. Iwi, these Maori leaders now become so powerful that they're going to take control of the internet, and they are going to be censoring what we say on the internet, i.e. this video and Facebook and whatever. They get to censor. So people like the aforementioned Julian Batchelor, Terry O'Pines, others, many more, Anglo-Saxon, Wongeray Tim, and others, are going to be censored. So they're going to control everything. They'll probably put Julian Batchelor and the others, myself, in jail at some stage. Can you imagine the corruption that would happen if they took power? Because Maori want full power. Because they say, when I say Maori, I'm saying Maori elites, I've got to get it right. They say now, and they know it's a lie, that they didn't sign sovereignty. Sign the sovereignty of New Zealand away to Queen Victoria in 1840. They didn't sign it. That's what they're saying. And the revisionist historians who have been allowed to rewrite history are now agreeing with that. Even the Waitangi Tribunal say, no, they didn't sign away their sovereignty, which is a lie, because the Waitangi Tribunal is stacked full of radical and judges who only make decisions in favour of iwi and Maori claimants. That costs the country an absolute eye-watering fortune. So now they want co-governance with veto powers over the other 50%. So in other words, that's 100% governance, and they will get it because we've got a piss weak shadow of a man, Chris Luxon, who will give them anything they want. John Key was over here basically, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and he told Chris Luxon and the Maori party to give Maori what they want for the sake of good relations, race relations. Words to that effect. Give them what they want. I mean, John Key should not even be allowed in the country. As soon as he left power, boom, gone, he's gone. Buggers off and lived in Sydney. And now he's coming over and saying this kind of thing. How weak, what a weak, limp-wristed, piss-poor manlet of a man. The Prime Minister waited in the wings of the Labour Party to take power again. Labour, for sake. I was going to swear then. The Labour leader, Chris Hipkins, nobody was forced to take the vaccine. Yeah, that bloke. He's the preferred Prime Minister now, would you believe? He's the preferred Prime Minister. How do we get to this? Where's New Zealand's version of Trump? We have no version of Donald Trump. Yes, we've got David Seymour. I don't think he's strong enough. Fantastic what he's doing. But we need someone just more... I was going to use the word robust then, but it sounds so political. I'm going to say ballsy. Who's got some knackers, who's got some balls. You know, much like Trump. But there is nobody. Nobody. Stacked full of gutless cowards is Parliament. People would rather attack myself, people like me, Julian Batchelor and the rest, than face the truth of what's happening. Because it's easier, it's the easy option. I'm not sure how long this video's been. 18 minutes. But I think we are fast approaching, quite possibly, a civil war in New Zealand. I'm not going to say I'd like to see that, because I don't. In fact, I don't think it's going to happen. I think these radical Maori terrorisers will just be handed the country on a plate, handed it, without a single shot being fired. And these people are so corrupt, they will strip this country of all its wealth. I'm looking around Rolleston here and all the houses that are being built. It's huge. From outside New Zealand, Rolleston's just outside Christchurch. It's the fastest growing town in the country. Every house that's being built here, every house is being bought mostly by Pākehā, non-Maori New Zealanders, and the people that are coming from overseas. Every inch of that land, every inch of the land that's been purchased over since 1840 is at risk. Because every sale of every home and every block of land everywhere across this country, every inch of this land of New Zealand that's been sold was sold illegitimately, because Maori did not cede sovereignty to the Queen. Therefore, all this land, the land your house sits on, if you own property here, is at risk, because John Tamahiri, Willie Jackson, Rawiri Waititi and Debbie Packer, they'll be coming for it. And if you're freehold you better get ready to start paying again, because you built the house on Maori land and they're going to want their payment. Scary stuff, but that's when they take power, and it's not if, it's when. I'm sorry to paint a bad picture. That's just the way it's going to go, because we're not strong enough to stand up to them. I think I'll leave it there. This is Cross the Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel. Give me an uptick. Share this video everywhere, because we truly are moving to a terrible place, and New Zealand will be the Zimbabwe of the South Pacific. See you later.